All praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, forever and ever, so let it be true. Love, honor, and respect to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His Holy Son, Yahushai, who died for the 12 tribes of Israel. Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 and 6. And double honors to the apostles of GMS, to the 4 major prophets, to the 12 minor prophets, and to the hopeful elect, the brothers, the Akim, the saints, the 144,000 brothers who are risking their lives day in and day out, bringing out this truth. And to all my brothers, sisters, and children who are watching this video, we're on another lesson. And today is Sunday. Days are going so fast. Today is October 12th. So a lot of things are happening. We're going to get right into the scriptures. About America, what's going to happen to the Greco-Roman American Zionist Herodian Empire, and to our people, the house of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the kingdom, the southern kingdom, and then you have the northern kingdom, which is Ephraim, Issachar, Reuben, Gad. Those are your Latin, your Native American Latin tribes. All right, you have the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. We're all here. All 12 tribes are here in America. This is where the big showdown, all right, between Esau and Jacob. But we are scattered on the 4 corners of this earth. But all 12 tribes are here in America in captivity. And everything's about to go down. Prophecy is taking place. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit of just a few minutes of the news of what Nero, Donald Trump, what he's been doing. Okay, and we believe this is the guy that's just going to push this to the second and third quarter of World War III. Okay, we're in the first quarter. We're going into that second and third quarter. We think this guy is the guy. This is the man that's just, he's a walking psychopath, sociopath. All right. I mean, this is the man. I believe that the whole world hates us. All right. Wherever this man goes on the 4 corners of this earth, they boo him. Same thing with the Prime Minister of Israel. They boo the guy. I mean, they're even in Israel, they boo and yell and scream and at that prime minister. The whole world sees it, and this little peace thing that they're trying to, that's all lies. Okay, they're just trying to calm it down a little bit because things are, they attack and they cross borders every day. These people they don't care. They blow up schools, hospitals, they kill kids, mothers, pregnant women. They don't care. But they cooled it off just for a second. But like I said, everything is about to go up in flames. All right, Ukraine, the Middle East. I mean, that's why I call this bloody October. All right, just so many things are happening. But you won't believe this what I'm going to bring out right now. And they're keeping this on the down low. All right, like I said, this whole church right now. When I pulled up here, there's a Roman Catholic church here. There's like 50 cars, maybe more, all going into that church. They don't have a clue. They don't know, no understanding or nothing. They just look at me and they just keep on walking. They go to the priest over there and they're doing that sit down, sit up, sit down, and they're doing the rosary and all that. I mean, these people are totally gone, out of their minds. All right, but they don't even know what's really happening in the world. So you have Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of War. So you have this incredible series of events that are happening right now. There's a lot of people walking by. Incredible events that are happening right now. So you have the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Hegseth announces Qatar Air Force site in the U.S. Okay? So MAGA, people are starting to wake up, especially people that follow Donald Trump. You know, they worship him like a savior. They worship him like a god. I mean, it's an occult, that whole thing that he's the one that gets them enraged to attack immigrants, to strip people apart, you know, mothers and fathers and children. I mean, people are, they're watching this unfold in front of their eyes. And this is just the beginning. He's starting, this is the Nazi party, okay? It's like we're going right back to World War II. But this is on a whole different level, okay? This guy's going to go all out, man. He's ripping children apart, you know, taking them away. They've been doing bad things to children for years, all right? But it was in the secret. It was behind closed doors. A lot of things were happening they didn't show you, but now it's in your face. You see these ICE, they're going all over. They're just ripping kids. They pick up mothers, slam them on the ground. They have no mercy. This is just the beginning of sorrows for the tribes, and they're going to come after Edomites. They're going to come after all the races. They don't care. This is that time, like I said, this is the time of the purge. All right, but people are afraid. All right, when they're seeing this on the news. But going back to the Secretary of Defense, Hegseth announces Qatar Air Force site in the U.S. So they made a deal with these Middle Eastern Islamic Muslims, okay, that they're going to build a base, and they're going to use U.S. tax dollars to pay for this. Our Air Force jets, fighter jets, and we're going to train these Muslims, these Islamic men, and they're from the country Qatar. Okay, you can look this up. So you have MAGA, they're losing their minds. They're losing their minds on this one. Okay, like I said, he's hand to hand. He's in collusion with those nations. He gets kickbacks. Now, a few days ago, I seen somebody. They were putting comments on this one video I was watching, and they were saying, you know, these are the ones that are still brainwashed, and they're in that occult. You know, they have them totally brainwashed. This guy says he's a great man. He don't accept his $400,000 salary. $400,000 to Donald Trump is like $4. Yeah, he don't need to take that, because in the back room he's with the lobbyists, he's with Congress, he's with the Senate, and he's with these nations, these Middle Eastern men and other men in Japan, China, Australia, Canada, and they're in the back room and they're cutting up all the money. All right, this is not what you Americans just don't know nothing. That's why I call Americans dumb and dumber. But you have a few of these MAGA Republicans are starting to wake up what this guy's all about. Okay, especially what he did with the U.S. farmers with the soybeans. He ain't helping them. All right, China's no longer buying these soybeans, but they just bailed out. I believe it's Argentina. I have it written down here. Yeah, 20 billion to Argentina. We bailed them out, but American farmers, they're not getting no bailout. They're going bankrupt because China no longer buys the soybeans from American farmers. It's game over. And these are the people that went in line to go vote for him. Okay? You have construction companies, they're all folding. They have no workers. The farms, they're looking for workers. All the Mexicans and people from Central and South America, they're no longer there. They're gone. They got picked up by ICE. All right, so when you go to the grocery store, don't lose your mind when you try to buy a cucumber and it's like $8 for one cucumber. Apples, oranges, they're all going to go through the roof. All right, this is just the beginning of your sorrows. But going back, in the Bible, you can look this up. God calls America the hypocritical country. All right, he's a hypocrite. Just a few years ago, he was talking about Qatar and saying that they were a terrorist nation. All right, they had him up there with Iran, but now he's in collusion. He's hand to hand with them, and then we're going to get into all these backroom deals that he has with these creeps. Okay, and remember, they're all going to turn. They're all going to turn on America. All right, we're going to get in, and we're going to go into the holy book of Obadiah. So, Qatar they gave Donald Trump $400 million plane. Okay? And you don't supposed to be taking these gifts, but he twists it around saying he's going to use that as Air Force One. He loves gifts. Like I said, they go in the back room. There's big business deals going on. All right, that's how your president, that's how your Congress and your senators make millions, hundreds of millions, and billions of dollars. Okay, they're not going to break this down when you're in school, just like they don't break down money. All right, they don't break down what real money is. All right, and fake money. They give you the paper money, the paper stocks and bonds, your 401. They give you all that and they make you think in your brain that you have some type of wealth, but it's nothing but paper. Okay, just like how they just make up all this money. All right, how they print money out of thin air. Okay, but that they accept gifts, everything. These men have no ethics. They have no morals. All right, all the men of America, all of your government, your branches of government, these are men that are vile, disgusting. All right, they break all the laws of the holy book. None of these men are men of God. Your so-called church. That's all ruled by Satan on the left-hand side. Okay, it's just to keep you. They dumb you down. All right, you see guys with robes, and you see them walking around with candles, and they have a Bible, but they don't read the Bible. They don't read it to you. And if they do, those Protestants, a few Protestants, they'll bring out some scriptures, but they cherry pick the scriptures. Okay, they don't give you the perfect balance of what happens when you sin and you become a nation of wickedness, a land of this disgusting pedophiles and perverts. The wages of sin is death, and that's what's coming to America. God is not blessing America. God is about to destroy this place with no mercy. Everything is going to come down. But all your politicians they're a bunch of disgusting human beings. All right. Like I said, they have no ethics. All right. These men break all the laws of God. All right. They're unspiritual men. Okay, they're all about money, all right, power. It's all about their own wealth, stealing land, stealing gold, silver, and oil. Why do you think we're in the Middle East? All right, taking all their oil, their artifacts, their gold, and their silver, and their minerals. Okay, so he received a $400 million plane. That was the payoff. Trump's playing you MAGA for suckers. Okay, and like I said, people are starting to wake up and they're seeing that this man is evil, wicked. All the men in government are wicked. Like I said, Obama, Donald Trump, the Clintons, Biden, they all sit together and they break bread together and they're laughing at you. You're the suckers. All right. That's why the prophets, we call the American dumb and dumber. You can't get more dumb than an American. Even these third world countries are laughing at America. Britain is embarrassed. I mean, people from France and Germany, they're embarrassed. I'm on a video. I'll call you back. Sorry, brothers and sisters. Always happens. They're embarrassed of America. They're an embarrassment. Well, I've seen this. Somebody was I was watching one of the videos. Someone put this one up and he says, "Looks like Trump is more Muslim than President Obama." Okay, because he made that deal with these Middle Eastern, Islamic. And it came out of his own mouth. You can watch the video. He had Qatar as a nation of terrorists up there with Iran. But now they made a backroom deal. A lot of money involved. He's involved in this. And now they're friends. Okay, they're friends. They bought him a nice plane for $400 million. And he's doing backroom deals. That's how these guys, this is how they operate. They don't care about your American farmers. They don't care about government employees. That's why he's firing them. All right, and he's saying that he's not even going to pay them. If they come back, they're working for free. All right, like I said, they're going to have you on your knees begging for mercy. When they push out that chip, they're not going to force it on you. Most Americans they're going to beg for the devil's chip, so they can eat a loaf of bread. We've been telling you for the last few years that they're going to purge government and purge these corporations because they own it, they control it. And that's what they're doing. People are getting that pink slip every single day. People are worried that they're going to lose their job. And once the money don't come in, your income stops, it's game over for you. Because most of you live beyond your means. You got a house with 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, you want 1, 2, 3 acres. This is a country that just wants more. They consume everything, so you're in debt. With RVs, motorcycles, vans, Ford trucks, Chevy trucks, those, what do they call those? They go into the dirt. All these toys that these guys like to buy. And these women are getting their nails done, their hair done, putting their kids in private schools. You're not going to be able to do that no more. Like I said, the fun and games are coming to an end. All right, but Donald Trump, your government don't care about you. They're all hand to hand with these different nations. And like I said, they want that one world order. You know, that's the whole game plan. We're going to get into that. But people, the MAGA, these Republicans, they're trying to find out that Trump now is hand to hand with the Islamic so-called terrorists. That's what they call them. All right, but they're worth, the Middle Eastern people. They have billions and trillions of dollars from that oil. They go back to Ishmael. That was Abraham's oldest son, Ishmael. That's where the Arabs come from. All right, and God blessed them with that oil. Right. But remember the Rothschilds, they're worth over 800 trillion. The Muslims, the Islamic, the people over there in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, they're worth on the low trillions of dollars. Okay. They're under the Rothschild family. They have been blessed with a lot of money in their wickedness, because they're going into slavery. All the Arabs are going into slavery, just like Esau and the nations. All the nations are going into slavery. All right, they're not going to escape, because they all laid hands on the prophets and on the tribes. So payback's coming. All right, but this Nero, Donald Trump, all right, he's an Edomite. Okay, Biden was an Edomite. All your Congress and your senators, those are all Greco-Roman, Anglo-Saxon Edomites. All right, they can't be saved, and they're all about the dollar. They're all about the money. All right, they're the ones stealing all these hundreds of millions and billions of dollars every year. There's all this money is missing. But if you go to a bank and you steal $50, you're going to jail. Right? You go write a check. You know what I mean? You steal somebody's check. They got surveillance. They'll pick you up quick, and you're done. They're finished. I see it all the time on YouTube. All these dummies that go in there and they steal checks from the mail and they try to cash it. Like I said, you can't get. I can't even just. I can't even put it together how stupid these people are. You know, they have all this surveillance. They'll get low-level people. They're going to pick you up, but they'll get away with it. Okay, they can get away with it because they're in one big club. All right, they can steal all the money they want. They're not gonna get caught. But anybody under them, you're gonna get prosecuted and thrown in prison. Okay, they're even going after people for back pay, SSI, people that got money during the time of 2020, 2021. They're going after people on that, saying that they overpaid people. I've been reading articles on that people they're sending them letters and say, you know what, we overpaid you for 3 years. You owe us $18,000, or you owe us $25,000, $30,000, whatever. They're just making up numbers. They're going after everybody. So don't be surprised if you get some mail and they say you owe. Okay, they're coming after everybody, and then all that what they're doing with the government jobs where they're not paying them, but your government just gave Argentina $20 billion. They bailed them out. Okay, this, like I told you, this whole thing is a racket here in America. All right. So he's hand to hand with Islam. It says right here, in Idaho, there should never be a military base of a foreign power on the sacred soil of America. We can make a video on that. But they're going to put it in Idaho. They're going to train these Arabs, and they're going to, with U.S. fighter jets. Okay, Qatar is building a facility to house a squadron of pilots and teams of F-15s. That's a lot of Qatari military personnel existing on U.S. soil. Okay, this whole base is going to be Middle Eastern men, and they're going to be trained by U.S. military, Air Force, with these fighter jets. Okay, and you can look this up. You can't, like I said, you can't make this stuff up. Trump's family and the Qataris are business partners. Eric Trump recently unveiled plans for a new golf course and a beachside resort in Qatar. And Trump's son-in-law, the Jew boy, Jared Kushner, has raised billions of dollars from several Middle Eastern countries, including Qatar. Like I said, they're all hand to hand. They're all in collusion. They're making the big bucks when you can't even pay for your groceries. You can't even pay for your water bill or your electric bill. All right, inflation is going through the roof. Everything is doubled and tripled, but your government will say inflation is only 2.5%. Like I told you, they go and find animal cookies at the store and they base inflation on animal cookies. They're not using steak, lamb, fish, pink salmon, tuna. They're not using that. They're using animal cookies. And so, yeah, inflation's up 2%. But really, steak and everything is doubled and tripled. Like I said, Americans are just plain stupid. But they're slowly, every day, they're starting to see that this guy's the devil and that just your whole government are demons. All right, but they're all in collusion. Like I said, over there in Palestine, in Gaza, they're planning to build golf courses, casinos. In New York City, Jews from all over the United States go to New York City and they have these meetings. These are all these Amalekites. They're the fake Jews. They're the imposters. Okay, Revelations 2:9, Revelations 3:9. They're the imposters. They go meet all these rich Amalekites. Okay, they go to New York and they already have a map of land. They're already selling land. All right, this has all been planned to purge that whole Palestinians. All 3 million got to go. They don't care. They want to just kill them all. But like I said, with the World Wide Web, with this internet, and with people filming all the evil that's going on over there, the genocide, it's going all over the world, and people are waking up. Okay, people are seeing, oh, this is pure evil what they're doing over there, and they kill peacekeepers and everything. I mean, these people, they're the devil. That's why we call these people the devil. The Amalekites and Esau, they're the children of the devil, Satan. All right, what do you think happened in the garden? All right, that's on another lesson. But these are the children of Satan. Okay, that whole Middle East got to be purged. But they're trying to purge it for themselves because they believe in their mind that God's going to be with them, and God's going to let them continue to rule this earth. Okay, and that's why they're in the Middle East, and they're definitely purging Palestine. Okay, and they want to purge the whole Iran, and those are the Persians. All right, they're not Arabs. The Persians are not Arabs. Okay, they want to purge that all of Iran because they're a big threat to Europe, Israel, and the United States. So they're going to take out anybody that's a threat, and that's Iran and Russia. So that's why it's going to turn nuclear. All right. Now you have Saudi Arabia; they're hand to hand with the United States, with the branches, with the Amalekites, with the Rothschilds. They're hand to hand. Just like this Qatar, there's a lot of oil. They have a lot of money, and they're working together to remove Iran. And they don't care about those Palestinians right now because there's big money. They're all have their money tied in with all these casinos and all this stuff they want to build, skyscrapers. But like I said, in the United States, all these Amalekites, these imposters here, they fly to New York and they're already buying lots of land. All right, they're buying their land for their people to build businesses there. They're all about, like I said, they're all about greed, money, power. These people. All right, this is all in the back rooms, behind the scene. All right, like I say, you're not going to hear this on NBC, CBS. What I'm telling you is the truth. These people are evil. They don't care about these people, man. They don't care if they wipe out all 3 million, and that's what they're doing. All right, and they're gonna probably They're gonna try to nuke Iran. All right, and Russia, but it's gonna backfire. But that Jared Kushner, that guy's a straight up demon. His whole family are demons, and he's an Amalekite. What else do I have here? It says Qatar is also central to the Trump's Middle East cryptocurrency strategy, which is the bulk of his net worth. Help make his children billionaires. So I guess they have a thing going on with all the people of the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, with the crypto in the Middle East. Like I said, his hands is everywhere, man. He's all about money and wealth and power, but he doesn't care about none of you. That's why we tell you, brothers and sisters, and people that are sitting on the sidelines watching from the bleachers, you better get your house in order. And you got to save yourself. The government's not going to help you. Okay? And if they do feed you, and people are going to be in lines for I don't know how many miles, it's going to be cancer, poisonous. Whatever they feed you, commodity cheese, whatever cans that they give you, expect to come down very ill. That's why you need to go buy your own food. All right? And one of the best foods that I like is, and you can live for days off of one jar, glass, olive oil, and tuna. All right? That's where I get my, I love fish. Okay? And I eat salads. And literally, I could just make me a salad this big with some tuna. Just one little bowl like this, fill me for the whole day. It fills me up more if I eat 3 steaks. A salad and fish fills me up more than steak. Actually, it could go 2-3 days just one glass olive oil with tuna. Mostly you can get the good brands that come out of Spain, Portugal, and Italy. Okay, but one jar I could live off of one jar probably for 6 or 7 days. All right, just like what, because they put there's several pieces in one jar. I would say about 6-7 pieces. One piece could fill me up for the whole day. If I had to limit on my intake, and see, it has enough fat. See, fish has it's that good fat in olive oil. Okay, like cans of peas or cans of corn, you're not getting that good fat that your body needs if you're walking, moving. This will keep you alive. But like I said, most Americans, they have no understanding. All right, they're going to be eating out of cans, or probably be eating peanut butter, which that's going to make you thirsty. Like I said, and you can live off of greens. Greens fill you up. But people, like I said, people don't understand. And the 3 greens that I eat almost every single day is raw spinach, raw arugula, and raw dandelion, the greens. Okay, and there's other greens I take, but those are the main 3 greens that I take. And then I put the olive oil, the balsamic vinegar, the red wine vinegar, and then I organic tomatoes, organic cucumbers, and just a small salad fills me up for the whole day. Like I said, greens will fill you up, but people they just don't understand. If you notice, if you eat cheap food and fast food, you're hungry every hour. That's why, like, poor people, even middle class and rich people, they eat McDonald's. They're uneducated when it comes to food. But the cheaper the food is, man-made, you're always hungry. It makes you. The cheaper the food is, the more defiled that the food is, you're hungry like every hour. That's why people could go to an all-you-can-eat. They'll go home, fall asleep for 2-3 hours. They'll wake up hungry again. They'll eat, go to sleep. They'll be hungry again. They're just constant. And when you eat over and over, you become sick. Okay? You should only eat 1 meal a day, but you could eat 2. Sometimes I eat 2. Sometimes that salad I make, I can't even finish it. So I'll eat it 6 hours later and I'll be done. Sometimes I make a salad, I can't even finish the salad the whole day. It just fills me up. But like I said, this is some crazy stuff that's going on. These are all backroom deals that are going on. And like I said, they're bringing in the New World Order, but right now they're purging all the Americans. You're going to be destitute. They want you to kill yourself. They want you to go into the street so they can pick you up, put you in a concentration camp, and you're going to be on these. They're going to be making you work, and you're not going to get paid if you're in those concentration camps. And the ones that don't go in concentration camps, you're going to be working, but you're only going to be making like a couple dollars an hour, and there's nothing you're going to be able. There's nothing you're going to do. All right, people don't think this is going to happen, but it's already happening. It's called they're working people like slaves right now. And if you say anything, they get rid of you. So they're making one person do 3 people's jobs. And it's going to get worse. Maybe at one time, and in the future, one person is going to do 10 people's job. And if you complain, they're going to get rid of you. Let's get right into this, though. I want to go into the holy book of Obadiah. This is 2 pages. This is a minor prophet, and in this book, he's talking to the Greco-Romans, America, the Herodian. He's talking about the United States. Okay, Obadiah. So the Lord, the holy book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 1. The introduction. This book is this short book comes from some time, undetermined time, after the fall of the holy city of Jerusalem in 586 before Mashiach, when Edom, Judah's age-old enemy to the southeast, not only rejoiced over the fall of Jerusalem, but took advantage of Judah's plight to loot the city and help the invader. Obadiah prophesied that Edom, which are the Edomites, would be punished and defeated along with other nations that were enemies of Israel. I told you, all the nations are going to get beat down. That's when the Lord comes back, Yahushua comes back, he's not coming back with candy and lollipops. He's coming to destroy these nations. And this prophet here, he's called a minor prophet. All right, he was the page. This small book is all on the Greek boy, the Roman boy, the Anglo-Saxon boy, and his wife and his children. They're all getting to get it, from the greatest to the least. All right, that's why your Congress and your Senate, they know the truth. That's why they're living it up. They fly all over the world. They eat. They're living it up because this is their kingdom right now. But their kingdom is ending, and they know. They watch us. They know that they're going to be slaves. They know they're losing their power. All right. They can see the writing on the wall, but there's nothing they can do. They're just living it up. All right. They're going to live it up. So Obadiah chapter 1 verse 1. The punishment of Esau, the punishment of Edom, the day of the Lord God is at hand. This is the prophecy of Obadiah, what the Most High God Yahweh said about the nation of Edom. The Lord will punish Edom. The Lord Yahweh has sent his messenger to the nations. And we have heard his message. Get ready. Let us go to war against Edom, America. Get ready, the Lord says to Edom. I will make you weak. Everyone will despise you. Your pride has deceived you. All right? The pride and the arrogance of America. All right. Their heads are in the clouds. All right. That's why the whole world that looks at America, they see the pride and the arrogance of your senators, of your Congress, of your president, of your the Rothschild bankers, the branches of government, the Federal Reserve, your military, how they invade nations and take everything. You know, they see that they're the bully. They make false accusations. They demonize nations, countries to attack. Okay? But people can see. People are not blind no more. All right? People, they're witnessing. They can see with their own eyes on the World Wide Web what America does every, you know, how we're messing over there in Valenzuela. We're shooting down boats. They hit one boat with a missile, and they said they were all civilians. They kept that real quiet in the newspapers, and now they're saying that they're hunting drug dealers. When the United States, your branches of government are the biggest drug dealers on the planet. They're pharmaceutical companies. Okay, it's a real joke. Like I said, is there cartels? Is there? Yeah, there is. They're on a low level, and the CIA created them, just like the CIA created the Crips and the Bloods in Los Angeles, for them dummies to kill each other. They're behind the music industry. All those rappers, they helped them write this music to have to bring violence to the neighborhood. The more you listen to it, you'll take action. You know, the more you're brainwashed with this evil music, and the more you listen to it, you'll take action. And that whole music industry is to shoot, to stab, to kill, to sell drugs, to chase money, kill anybody that has more than you, jealousy, envy. You see what we're talking about right here is truth. All right, they brainwashed the masses, and then you have these parents that let their little kids listen to it. They blast that music in their home, in their car, and you wonder why you have demons attached to you, attacking you, and you're being attacked every day, and violence and this evil energy is all around you. So bad things are going to happen to people that are in that listen to that type of negative energy of that music. All right, but they're behind it. Why do you think they put all these little candy stores in the ghettos, and they put liquor stores on every single block? All right, and then they created these gangs to desecrate the neighborhoods. All right, and then the schools, you don't learn nothing from the schools. The schools is to keep your mind in the gutter. All right, they just want you to work and pay taxes and obey your master. You're trained to obey your government, this wicked government. This all goes back to Esau. Okay, and that's why he says your pride has deceived you. Your capital is a fortress of solid rock. That's the United States government. That's Washington, D.C. Got your branches of government. Your home is as high as the mountains. We're the biggest, the United States. All right, the biggest mountain, the biggest government is America. Okay. So you say to yourself, who can ever pull me down? Even though you make your home as high as an eagle's nest, so that it seems to be among the stars, yet I will pull you down. And that's talking about how we went up to we so-called went to the moon, all right? Which that was a lie. That was a lie that we made it to the moon, okay? People are slowly waking up to that, all right? That they went up there, and we're talking about the 1960s. Have you noticed? They went up there in the late 1960s, and they haven't done nothing ever since. Well, we never even made it there. Okay, we sent satellites up there, but no men have been ever walked on that moon. Okay, but they always want to be like the greatest. Like I said, their heads are in the clouds, and they wanted to put fear, and they wanted to be the whole world to worship this place. But we never made it there. We've sent satellites there, and they're never going to leave this earth. All right, they're trying to. They're trying to get out of here, because they know what the Holy Book says. Like I said, watch the movie Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes. All right, that whole time that what was his name? Can't even think of his name now. My train of thought. Charles Heston and the other pilots, when they were on that planet, they thought they landed on a different planet. He didn't realize until the end. At the end, when he was on the horse with his woman, and they seen the Statue of Liberty, that's when he jumped off the horse and started hitting the ground. And then he knew he was in America, and then he seen that America was destroyed by nuclear war, and that's why he was hitting the ground, saying, "God damn it!" He was saying, "Damn them that it went nuclear." All right, and then if you watch that's a deep movie. You watch that movie, it even says, it talks about Esau, that he's the wild man, he's a beast, he kills everything. He's the true terrorist of the earth. He's the terrorist. Wake up, watch that movie, sit down, get some popcorn, sit with your family and watch that whole movie. 1966, Planet of the Apes. And the apes read the Bible. And they told him, do not go over there to America. But in the movie, they call it the Forbidden Land. All right. But he said they're a beast, and then I remember the girl monkey told him that he looked very uneducated. See, a man supposed to have a beard, but in this country, to make it in business, you're supposed to be clean shaven to look like a woman. See, the men of America, they're feminine. They're half male, half female. That's the spirit, because they worship these demons. And they're like a male-female god, or a Baphomet, and these demons, they have that they put that female spirit on these men, and that's why you have all these men dressing like women in high heels. You even have men in the military that dress like women, put makeup on and everything. They look, and some of these guys look just like women. I mean, it's scary. Some you can see that they're just big brute men with high heels. Then some of them look like women. It's like we live in a crazy world. All right. Pages start flying around here. Let me get back in here. So he says, even though you make your home as high as an eagle's nest, so it seems that you're among the stars, yet I will pull you down. When thieves come at night, they take only what they want. When people gather grapes, they always leave a few. But your enemies have wiped you out completely. Descendants of Esau, your treasures have been looted. All right, because these nations are going to come. All right, they're going to come and attack this place. Look at the wind start. The wind's really coming out because they're coming. These nations, that storm is coming against America. That's why he says, descendants of Esau, your treasures have been looted. Your allies have deceived you. They have driven you from your country. People who were at peace with you have now conquered you. Those friends you ate with, that ate with you, have laid a trap for you. They say of you, where is all this cleverness he had? So the nations that you're in collusion with, just like right now with Donald Trump and Qatar and Saudi Arabia, all these backroom deals. All right, you're talking about billions of dollars. All right, but these nations are going to turn on America, your so-called friends, and they're only friends with you because you sent billions of dollars to them. All right, why do you think we sent billions of dollars to Argentina and these Latin countries? Because we're trying to stay hand to hand with them so they don't jump fence with China and Russia. That's why we're going to invade Venezuela. That can happen any day. There's been a lot of tension for the last couple months with Venezuela, but they're going to talk about, oh, we're over there because of drugs and all this stuff, which is lies. It's because The West is at war with the East. Uh, the Far East, which is China, and then you have he's the king of the North, the Chinese. The king of the East are the Chinese, and the king of the North is Russia. All right, and they're trying to get in there in Latin America. Like I said, we're in a world war, but we'll make up lies. Remember, America is the villain, and America's the villain, Israel's the villain, and NATO's the villain. The three demons, but they always play victim. And like I said, they brainwash the masses out there with these lies. All right, just like 9/11, and they blamed it on Saddam Hussein in Iraq, and they blamed the boogeyman. What's his name? Osama bin Laden. He was from Saudi Arabia. He wasn't even from Iraq. He was from Saudi Arabia, but they're friends. They're all tied in with oil over there in Saudi Arabia. But we always have to make a boogeyman. All right, we always make a boogeyman. Just like they started World War II to take the land of Israel. It's on a bigger. There's things behind the scenes that people just don't know. Just like October 7th, the United States, Europe, and Israel was behind that October 7th. All right, they have Arab mercenaries that went in there and killed their own people. They're sick. You're talking about psychopaths and sociopaths, just like they did kill. You have people that believe that no Jews were killed in World War II. They killed their own. Yeah, there were people thrown in ovens, and they did it to their own people. All right, you sacrifice a few for the bigger cause. You see what I'm saying? On that left-hand side, they will take out their own, just like they took out Charlie Boy. All right, and then you have people thinking he's a saint for the movement of the Republican Party. They start this stuff. They'll assassinate their own people for the cause. That's why you got to smarten up over here, and you got to see the tricks that this demon, these people behind the scenes. All right, like I said, they're starting the second quarter of World War III. They're gonna do something. They're gonna be the United States, the branches of government, the Rothschilds, your government is gonna be. They're gonna do that black swan to get the people ready for the war against Russia and China. We're already in that war, but this is when they start that draft. Okay, there's gonna be some type of big event, and they're gonna be the ones pulling the strings on it. But they're going to blame Russia. They're going to blame Iran. There could be a cyber attack. I believe there's going to be some, it's going to go more of some type of a nuclear event. Okay, but they're going to be the ones pulling. They're the ones pulling the strings, just like they bring those three buildings down, the Twin Towers, and Building 7. The Jews were behind that. The Amalekites, Israel, the CIA, and the Mossad, they were behind that. Okay, but what did they do? Right off the bat, they had the IDs. They already knew everybody that was in the plane, all these so-called terrorists. They knew all this, but didn't stop it. It's a joke. They found all their IDs, but they didn't. There's a lot of bodies they never found. They turned into dust, but they found the IDs, and they were nice. It's like they came right out of a machine. All right, they had all the film, the footage was already set up, man. But like I said, these Americans are dumb and dumber. Then a so-called plane hit the Pentagon, and they didn't find none of the plane because it was a missile that hit the building. All right, but like I said, these people are dumb and dumber. But you're gonna get what's coming to you. Is America will be invaded. All hell's breaking loose. All right, but read the whole book of Obadiah, and I want to touch a little bit on Ezekiel 38, and this is when God used Russia as the instrument of Yahweh. All right, He's the one that's going to get all these nations over there in the Holy Land. Because that Holy Land's been defiled. We're not going back until it's purged. So that whole Middle East got to be purged with nuclear fire, just like America's going to get nuked and purged with fire. Okay, but America's never going to be rebuilt. It's always going to be a hot springs. the land, the Holy Land in the Middle East is going to be rebuilt. It needs to be purged. Then everything, God, the Lord Yahweh Shai, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, his ancient Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. He's going to rebuild and reset. He's going to reset the earth because of these nuclear missiles. He's going to reset it, and then everything, all the trees are going to come back. It's going to be beautiful. All right. But in Ezekiel 38, this is where he gets all these nations. That's going back to Obadiah. These so-called America's friends are going to turn against them. All right, and all these Arab countries are going to turn. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, they're going to side with Russia in them days. It says, the Lord spoke to me, mortal man, he said, denounce Gog, chief ruler of the nation of Meshech and Tubal in the land of Magog. Denounce him and tell him that I, the Most High God Yahweh, am his enemy. I will turn him around and put hooks in his jaws and drag him and all his troops away. His army with his horses and uniformed riders is enormous, and every soldier carries a shield and is armed with a sword. Men from Persia, which is Iran, Sudan, and Libya, North Africa, are with him, and all have shields and helmets. All the fighting men of the land of Gomer and Beth Togarmah in the north are with him, and so are the men from many other nations. Tell him to get ready and have all his troops ready at his command. And it goes deeper into talking about Israel and talking about the Holy Land, the peaceful land. And I broke that down again, but I'll keep on bringing it up when he's talking about that peaceful land. It's not those Amalekites that are in Israel. Everything's barbed wire, surveillance. Everybody carries guns. There's no peace over there right now. The peaceful land and the peaceful people was talking about the time of King Solomon, when he ruled all 12 tribes. It was a time of peace for 40 years. All right. And remember, Solomon was Yahweh Shai in the reincarnation. Remember, he was Adam. He was the first Adam. There was many Adams. We still got to break down the book of Genesis. The two hardest books is Genesis and Revelation. Okay, but Yahweh Shai was the first man to walk the earth. All right, he named the oceans, the animals, everything, all the herbs, the trees. There was many Adams. He was the number one Adam. Okay, and then he came back as Melchizedek. Then he came back as Isaac. Remember when Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac? All right, that was it was letting you know that he was going to be the future sacrifice when he came back as Yahweh Shai. So he came back as Adam, Melchizedek, Isaac, and King Solomon. All right, and we lived with him for 40 years in peace. All right, so when you read the rest of Ezekiel 38, and it talks about the peaceful land and the peaceful people, that was talking about back then. That's why the book is filled with secrets and mysteries. So if all you brothers and sisters were edified, we're going to come out with more scriptures. Most High willing, I'll be here tomorrow. But I just wanted to tell you about these backroom deals that your government, how they're in collusion with these nations. All right, it's all about their gold, their silver, their oil, their cryptocurrency, and you know, eventually they're going to push that devil's chip, where they're going to try to control the whole world, but it's all going to backfire. All right, brothers and sisters, Kawada, thank you for watching.